Welcome back, folks, to the random video blog where every single Friday I share my rambling thoughts in the world of wrestling, share a few stories, etc., etc. So last week at Night of Champions, we had a few surprise returns. Even the next night on Raw, we had Natalya come back. But in Night of Champions, we had the returns of Kane and Chris Jericho. Now, as a wrestling fan, as a huge mark, as I like to call myself, I love returns. There is nothing better than the art of a great return. You really need to nail it right. And in 2015, it is so hard to make a great return in wrestling without the internet knowing, without it being obvious or whatever. It's just the way it's done, the way it's orchestrated, the way it comes about. It needs to be completely unexpected, not reported on. Nobody sees it coming. A debut, this is different too. This is only returns we're talking about here. We're not talking about the debut of Sting in WWE or Kevin Owens earlier this year or The Shield. This is talking about returns. Someone coming back from an injury, someone coming back to the company, which is even better, for a one-off, a whole other run, whatever it is. Returns are awesome. And I love returns. As a wrestling fan, one of my favorite things about the business is the art of a great return. And WWE, say what you will about them recently, the PG era, whatever, even in the last 7 years, they've had some great returns. You go back 15 years ago, they've been doing this. You go back to Vince McMahon coming back on one of the Raws before WrestleMania, I think 2000, when he came back to take out his son Shane. I'm pretty sure it was in 2000. One of the biggest pops I've ever heard in my life when I watched that moment back. So, you know, WWE has been nailing the art of a great return for over 15 years. But my favorite returns have come in the last 7 years since I started watching wrestling in 2008. Now, in this list of my top 5 favorite returns of all time, there is a distinct difference, and I always say this in every video that I do, and articles too. There is a distinct difference between favorite and best. The greatest return of all time could be, I don't know, Ric Flair, for example, coming back to the Slammy Wars in 2012. It might not be my favorite, but it could be the best. There is a distinct difference. My favorite could be Santino coming back earlier this year. Trust me, that's not on this list. It's not even close. It's not even in the top 200. But yeah, my favorite returns are going to be different from your returns, your favorite returns. So that's why I want to hear from you guys. I'll say it again at the end of the video, but I want to hear what your favorite returns are in the comments, on Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook, facebook.com/graham.jason.matthews. What are your favorite returns? After you hear mine, my top 5 favorite returns of all time, we kick it off from 2011. The return of The Rock. Now, of course, when I started watching in 2008, The Rock had never before been on WWE TV at that period in time. Maybe for a one-off at the WrestleMania weekend, Hall of Fame weekend, I wasn't even watching at that point. He came back for like one random video package in late 2009 on the 10-year celebration of SmackDown. There was that. It was via satellite, though. It was not in person. And over the next couple of years, though, a lot of rumors ran rampant as to when Rock could be coming back. Would he be doing a match at WrestleMania 26 against John Cena? I know at one point that was heavily rumored. Would he be coming back to be the guest host of Raw? Would he be running Raw as the anonymous Raw general manager? That's what I thought it would be. It wasn't, unfortunately, but I was hyped to see The Rock back. I had never before seen him in WWE. So in 2011, I had a feeling it could be The Rock. I think he put something out on social media earlier that day, Valentine's Day, which was also a good episode of Raw, by the way. I think Punk and Cena happened on that show, Daniel Bryan and The Miz. My favorite fan sign of all time that said, I love my wife, and the W in wife was the WWE logo when he crossed out the IFE. Pretty funny. That was a side note anyway. But on that night, The Rock came back after, 7 long years, his first appearance on WWE TV since 2004, and it made for an amazing moment. Place came unglued, and the way that it was done too was so very well done, because even though a lot of people thought it might be The Rock, he teased it on social media earlier on in the day, but during that whole episode of Raw was built around who's going to be the host of WrestleMania 27, who's going to be the host, and Justin Bieber, a complete fucking 180 from The Rock, was teased at one point, was hinted or rumored at one point to be hosting or even performing at WrestleMania. Thank God that never came to fruition. But even before The Rock came out, before they went to commercial break, they showed someone in high heels coming out of the limo. Now, that was never really revealed why that was or who that was. Obviously, it was just to kind of swerve us fans, but they did a very good job of it, because when the lights went out, whole place goes dark, you hear, "If this amount, da-da-da, what The Rock, da-da-da, is cooking," and the place goes fucking nuts. I forgot where it was. It might have been in Green Bay. I don't feel like it was. Might have been in St. Louis. I can't remember exactly where that arena where his return took place. But he came out, and I was freaking out. I couldn't watch it live. I was busy doing other stuff that night. But I watched it the next day when I got home, and I just went fucking berserk. All new look for The Rock, and I was watching with my brother, who didn't even really, he doesn't watch now, but he certainly didn't watch even back then. My younger brother, who was kind of a casual fan with me early on in 2008, even when he was sitting there, he was, pretty happy to see The Rock back too, because it's the fucking Rock. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, it is Dwayne the fucking Rock Johnson. Like, how are you not going to get excited over that? So he comes out, showing his arms, getting all goosebumps, doing this to the crowd and stuff like that. And it was awesome. A great return. His promo went on for like 20 minutes. It went so long that when I got Raw on DVR, I had to cut off, so I had to watch the rest of it online, calling out The Miz, calling out John Cena, calling out Fruity Pebble. All this great stuff. And the best part about it was his return and his promo was that in his promo, he said, like, ass and bitch. And like, oh, he said bitch, what a great promo. No. I mean, at that period in time, you never heard that stuff on WWE TV, or at least not a very, very long time. Rock, in my opinion, was who broke the barrier in terms of language, like bringing back, allowing people to say ass again, bitch again, damn. Like before that, from 08 to 2011, you would have never heard someone say ass or bitch or anything like that. Rock was able to make that stuff acceptable again. For whatever reason, I don't know, but he was the one that was able to do it. I think they censored some words, but for the most part, though, they just let him go, and it was awesome. It was 11 o'clock. The kiddies went to bed anyway, so whatever. That was my favorite Rock return. I mean, even beating out the one from last year, which I went nuts for. I didn't even expect. My favorite Rock return since that one, when he came back last year and confronted Lana and Rusev. Place goes nuts. I'm pretty sure might have been in the Barclays Center. I don't think it was, but I have a feeling that it might have been. But that was phenomenal. Or it might have been in Long Island. Whatever. Just an amazing moment. That was cool too. But yeah, number 5 on my list, The Rock's return from 2011. So coming in at number 4, a lot more recent of a return that was previously held by someone else, the Royal Rumble that came back earlier this year, but it got replaced when they came back as a unit the night after SummerSlam this year. Yeah, you got it. I'm talking about the fucking damn Dudleys. Those goddamn Dudleys came back the night after SummerSlam. Oh my God. And again, like I said earlier at the start of the video, the art of a great return is no one knowing about it. And nobody knew. And I had been saying since the Rumble, and I had been predicting it, not even predicting it, because that had been rumored, a lot of people thought it was going to happen. When Bubba Ray Dudley came back at the Rumble, and you hear, it's going down, place goes nuts, and I went crazy. And number 3, you see Miz in the ring, it's like, what the hell? It's the Bubba Ray Dudley. And you hear Michael Cole, still gives me chills watching it back all these months later. You hear Michael Cole on commentary in regards to Bubba. After 10 long years, Bubba Ray Dudley has come home. It was amazing and a great reaction for Bubba. And I was just shocked. I'm like, after seeing that, I'm like, I want Bubba Ray Dudley back in WWE. Nay, I want the Team 3D. I want the fucking damn Dudleys back in WWE. It took him a while, and I had put out articles, I had put out tweets, I had tweeted Bubba. I'm like, please come back, please come back, please come back. You guys need to come back. And after many months of teasing them, after many months of them teasing it on Twitter, they came back the night after SummerSlam. Again, nobody knew, not a single report. And I had been saying over SummerSlam weekend too to John, T-shirt reference, SummerSlam, amazing pay-per-view, was there live, of course. But I think the best part about that weekend, I was telling John all weekend long, like, somebody has to return this Sunday. It has to be huge. And I'm thinking, if I hear Team 3D, if I hear the Dudley Boys music, I'm going nuts, just letting you know right now. But I was not at Raw. I was at TakeOver. I was at SummerSlam. I was not at Raw, unfortunately. I couldn't. I was like dead by that point. I did so much traveling because I live in Connecticut, Barclays Center, like a 3-hour drive. Anyway, it was an amazing moment. I'm sitting there watching on my TV, watching Raw at home, and the New Day is just dancing. New Day rocks. New Day rocks, and you're boom, boom, boom. The pyro goes diagonal, and you're boom, boom, boom. And I was like, ah! I went nuts. Like, I can't even tell you how awesome that was. I went fucking berserk. I was dancing. I was doing the Dudley Boys dance, like, woo! And the commentary was great, too. Like, sometimes, like, when Christian came back, like in 2009, you hear Todd Grisham on commentary. What did he say? It's Christian. And, like, that was it. It was so dull. But for the Dudleys, you had JBL running down their accomplishments, which was a little unnecessary, but I didn't really mind it. Michael Cole sounded more animated than usual. It sounded like he didn't know. Because I know he talked to them in a later interview, said he got all giddy inside. I don't know if he was just acting or whatever, but if he was acting, good on Michael Cole, but I would like to think that he had no idea that was going to happen. And then Byron Saxton, he's going crazy on commentary. It was great. It was such a great moment. I'm so happy they're back, and they're really bringing back some excitement to the tag team division after such a long time. So great moment from the Dudley boys coming back the night after SummerSlam. That's number 4 on my list. It might be a little too lofty. Maybe I'll regret putting it there that's so high on the list, or putting it on the list at all, my top 5, later down the line. But I've been watching that return like every day since it happened. So, which goes to show that it was a pretty goddamn good moment. So we get to number 3 on my list, my top 3 favorite returns of all time. We've got Brock Lesnar from 2012. Now, this was a return people thought was going to happen. We all thought it was going to happen at WrestleMania. He's going to interfere in the main event between Rock and John Cena. Didn't happen. I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, okay, but they have to do it tonight on Raw. Now, mind you, this was before WWE started doing like saving big moments for Raw. This was before the night after WrestleMania, before it became a big thing. So now we know, and now we don't know, and now we know like in 2015, but in 2012, people just didn't figure like, oh, if it didn't happen at WrestleMania, it's not going to happen. But he was in Miami. I figured it might have been just an April Fool's joke. But on Raw, John Cena calling out The Rock, it's I love watching the promo back. It's awesome. And again, much like The Rock or the Dudley Boys, I was not a wrestling fan during the time the Brock Lesnar had his original run in WWE. So to see him back in WWE after such a long time, after seeing him in UFC, and after he left UFC or after he was done there, I'm thinking he needs to be back in WWE. It needs to happen. So anyway, though, John Cena cutting his promo on The Rock, inviting him out to the ring to kind of make up for what happened at WrestleMania. Just hug it out and say you were the better man. Just want to come out and congratulate you. And he looked just an amazing moment. You just see John looking out at the Titantron. You get a great view of the Titantron. See John put his hand out and just look out to the crowd, and then he looks back at the Titantron. And the place goes nuts. I mean, I keep on saying this for every return, but that is one of the loudest pops I've ever heard in my life. Up there with Ziggler cashing in the night after WrestleMania, actually the next year, almost exactly a year later. But when Lesnar came back, that place went fucking berserk. You see, I love watching it back. You see the fans in the crowd, like see some guy like jumping up and down. It's like, woo! It was so great. And Lesnar comes out with his all-new T-shirt. Oh my God, I get chills just thinking about it. And he just circles the ring crowd chanting, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And by the way, too, during Cena's promo, before this all went down, people were chanting, we want Lesnar. And he's like, we got a rowdy crowd on hand for tonight. And so he kind of acknowledged it, but he didn't want to, say, what are you talking about? Or say, Brock Lesnar, who is that? And stuff like that. He didn't even acknowledge it. He was like, no, we got a rowdy crowd on here for tonight. That's my John Cena impression. I know it's very bad, but that's my John Cena impression. So anyway, Lesnar comes out, holy shit chants. John Cena's like, yeah, holy shit. He's looking at the crowd. And Lesnar walks in the ring, just standing there face to face for a second, extends his hand to Cena. The cameraman, hope that guy got fucking fired. He turns to a fan real quick, and when you turn back, you already see Cena on Lesnar's shoulders. You just hear the crowd pop, and they cut back for that moment. But they should have shown him grabbing the hand and then putting him up on his shoulders for the F5. So he does that. Place goes crazy. Hits the F5. Kicks the hat for good measure, and you see Lesnar talking to the camera all intense And what was Michael Cole's line? For every one of these moments, you just hear these great lines on commentary. And for this one, Michael Cole was like, after 10 long... No, that was Bubba Ray. He goes, the landscape of Monday Night Raw has drastically changed. The anatomy, Brock Lesnar has returned, or something like that. Great moment. Again, love watching it back. That's what makes these moments so great, is if I keep on watching them back, as many times as I have, that's what makes them great. But yeah, Brock Lesnar came back. I've been loving his run ever since. So glad I re-signed earlier this year. But it's been such an amazing run, even dating back to his loss before Cena, which I thought was so stupid back in 2012. But regardless, Lesnar is back in WWE, and it all started with that moment. And we get to number 2 on my list, which at one point was number 1, but it got knocked off last year by something else, which I'll talk about in a minute. But number 2 on my list is my favorite returns of all time, CM Punk in 2011. Now, I know some people will not agree. They don't think it was a return, whatever. They don't count it. But I love that episode of Raw so much. And I just have an emotional attachment to all these returns, including this one. So the July 25th, 2011 episode of Monday Night Raw, the greatest episode of Raw that entire year, hands down, not even a question about it. So many great things. We had the return of JR on that show, John Morrison, Rey Mysterio winning the WWE title, John Cena winning back the belt later on that night after a great match between him and Rey Mysterio. So Cena celebrating with the title. And again, I have all these great commentary lines from like, that's how you know it's a great return. If you can remember what the commentators were saying when it was happening, that's how you know it was a great moment. No, it wasn't commentary. It was something that John Cena said. So anyway, John Cena wins back the belt like, oh, great. John Cena is WWE champion again. Whoop-de-doo. And he's celebrating with the belt and whatever. And you just hear, look in my eyes. I'm not going to sing the whole song. I'm a terrible singer. You guys know that if you've been tuning into the video blogs over the last couple of months when I sing all the theme songs. But anyway, you hear that song go off. Maybe one person in the entire arena is marking out. Because first of all, no one knew that was... I didn't even know what that song was. A lot of people in the arena maybe knew what that song was, but they had no idea it was associated with CM Punk. Maybe like the one Ring of Honor fan in that crowd that night was marking out. But for the rest of us, I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this? You just hear the song go off. I'm like, is this a botch? What is this? So anyway, the song goes off, and you hear John Cena. He's looking into the camera. He's looking up the ramp. He's like, that's not Alberto. That's not Alberto. Like, because Del Rio was the Mr. Money in the Bank at that time. It's so funny. Such a great line from Cena. He's like, that's not Alberto. That's not Alberto. So you see Punk come out with his new shirt, new look, new Titantron, new everything. Place goes crazy. That was the only time when that music first hit, the only time in WWE, that music never got a pop. And it's funny to think about the time that he came back, the only moment on this list that that the crowd didn't react, because they didn't know it was CM Punk, because he came back with an all-new song. And he comes out, arms stretched out, like acting like he's the greatest son of a bitch in the world, and goes up to Cena. Cena puts up his belt. Punk puts up his belt even higher. Great moment. Amazing moment. Crowd goes crazy for Punk. And afterwards he goes, I'm back, and he drops it. He's like, we need some new CM Punk t-shirts in this house. It's a WWE.com exclusive. It's on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's so fun. It's like a minute long. But that was a great return. Kicked off Punk's second run with the company. If his first run never technically really ended. Like the rebirth of CM Punk started on that show. And after that, I looked up Cult of Personality, listened to it at least a dozen times before I went to bed that night. It was a great song, still my favorite theme song to this day. Miss CM Punk so much, but it's so funny to think about that. The only times Cult of Personality did not initially get a reaction was when he first came out and made his return, because no one knew it was him. So great moment, and really kind of honing back to his Ring of Honor days and everything else. Just amazing stuff. And that was, like I said, my favorite return of all time up until last year. And this is my favorite return of all time. So when I went to Raw on June 30th, one of the greatest wrestling shows I've ever been to. That was before SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver earlier this year. But yeah, we went to Raw, and they had been advertising going into the show that a former WWE champion would be making their return. Now I'm like, oh, it's probably going to be Ric Flair, because I heard a lot of woos in the arena going throughout the evening. And you hear a lot of woo, 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 and all the crowds like doing that while we're waiting in line for merch. Like more so than usual. I'm thinking, okay, someone probably leaked it. It's Ric Flair, whatever. And so I'm thinking like they make the final announcement. I'm thinking maybe there's a chance it's Miz. And Miz's music hits, and I go nuts because I'm a huge Miz fit. And the place, I was the only one in the arena going crazy. So I was so happy to see Miz back after a couple months. New look, new everything, debuting the new Hollywood gimmick. And he cuts his promo saying he's going to get back to the main event of WrestleMania, all this other gibberish. And you will be begging me not to go. And then, and only then, what was that? Break the wall. I went, I can't even tell you. And you can watch it for yourself, too. I uploaded the video. It's here on YouTube. I'm so happy I recorded that moment of me reacting to Jericho's return. I go, and I freak out like a little girl. And I'm not embarrassed because it was such a great moment. And again, I figured the return was Miz. And I guess when I went home later that night that it had leaked out that Jericho was going to be at the show. And then he could have been that special surprise person coming out during that segment, like the old bait and switch. And I'm so glad I didn't read that report. I'm so glad I did not have internet on my phone at that period of time because someone would have spoiled it for me. People were tweeting me, oh, you're going to love who it is tonight. I'm sure you're going to love it. So even if at that point I'm thinking, oh, it's probably Miz then. So Jericho's music hits. And I had no idea, not even the slightest clue that he was coming back. Again, the greatest returns are the ones that you have no idea are happening. And when that pyro went off, I'm like, whoa, what is that? Jericho's music hits, went nuts. I lost my voice for like 3 days after that. And my brother's sitting there in a Jericho t-shirt. It was so weird. Like that just happened. It just happened like that. He was wearing one of my old Jericho t-shirts from like 5 years ago. I was going so crazy. Like the guy next to me had to like leave. I'm pretty 99% sure. He left for like 20 minutes because of me, because I was going so crazy. But it was such a great moment. My favorite wrestling moment that I've been there for, like my favorite moment that I've ever witnessed live, was Jericho's return. And also Awesome Kong's return too. I was there for that live. I had no idea that was happening earlier this year, the first TNA show on Destination America. Such a great moment. Saw that live. That's up there. I don't know if it would beat out any of these top 5, but just being there live for Jericho's return, not knowing anything about it, so happy I went to that show, so happy I was there live for it. And it just reminded me why I love this stuff so much. Reminded me why I am a wrestling fan. So that is my top 5 favorite wrestling returns of all time. Just to recap here, number 5, The Rock from 2011, Brock Lesnar from 2012, or rather, number 4 was the Dudley Boys from earlier this year, the night after SummerSlam. Number 3 was Brock Lesnar the night after WrestleMania in 2012. Number 2, CM Punk on the July 25th, 2011 edition of Monday Night Raw. And number 1, Chris Jericho from the June 30th, 2014 edition of Monday Night Raw, which I was there live for. So again, guys, I want to hear what your list is. What are your favorite returns of all time? Was it Vince McMahon 15 years ago? Was it when Bret Hart came back after such a long time, after so many years away in 2010? Was it Dudley Boys, Rock, Brock Lesnar? What was your favorite return of all time? I want to hear from you guys. Leave it down in the comment section below. Tweet me on Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.Matthews. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All support is greatly appreciated. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. I'm Graham Matthews, and I'll catch you guys down the road.